Imagine spending your entire childhood working hard, getting good grades, and doing everything right, only to find out the one thing you were promised was given away behind your back. This is the story of how I went from being betrayed by my own parents to running the show. I always thought that if you did everything right, got straight A's, stayed out of trouble, helped out around the house, life would eventually reward you. That's what I was told growing up. Work hard, earn your shot, and when it's time, your moment will come. So I kept my head down and did the work. While my older brother Ryan was out partying, skipping class, and bouncing from one failed hustle to another, I was grinding. School, internships, side jobs. I was on track to get into my dream college and build something real. My parents had always said they'd saved a college fund for me, that they were proud of how focused I was. I trusted that. So when I finally got my acceptance letter to Westbridge University, one of the top business schools in the country, I was over the moon. I remember running into the kitchen, waving the letter in the air, my mom smiling wide and my dad clapping me on the back. I thought it was one of the happiest days of my life. But that happiness didn't last. A few weeks later, when it came time to pay the deposit, I asked my mom when we'd be transferring from the college fund, and her face shifted. I'll never forget it. She went pale, avoided eye contact, and just said, "We need to talk." That conversation, it shattered everything I thought I knew. My college fund, the one they'd promised was being saved for me since middle school, was gone. They had given it to Ryan. Why? Because Ryan needed help getting his business off the ground and was going through a rough patch. I was speechless. I had done everything right, and they gave away my future to the brother who'd done everything wrong. I asked how they could do this, and all they said was, "You're smart. You'll figure something out." That night, I locked myself in my room and didn't come out for hours. Not because I was crying, but because I was planning. That was the moment something inside me snapped. If they thought I was going to just roll over and accept this, they didn't know me at all. I started researching alternative ways to learn business. Free resources, startup blogs, YouTube tutorials, Discord groups full of people building things from nothing. I decided if they weren't going to invest in me, I'd invest in myself. I skipped college, got a job at a local startup doing grunt work, but I paid attention to everything. How the founders talked, how they negotiated, how they solved problems. I worked 10 to 12-hour days, barely slept, lived off ramen and black coffee. But I was learning. Fast forward a year and a half, I launched my first startup. It wasn't fancy, just a digital service helping small creators optimize their monetization. I coded it myself, built the brand, cold emailed hundreds of potential users. Within 6 months, we hit our first $100,000 in revenue. I hired 2 people, then 5, then 10. And then, the twist of all twists, Ryan applied to work at my company. He didn't know it was mine. We were using a different brand name publicly, and my photo wasn't anywhere on the site. I stared at his application for an hour. He'd failed at 2 businesses since our parents gave him my college fund. Now he was broke, desperate, and begging for a shot. I scheduled the interview. I wanted to see his face when he realized. The day came. He walked in, sat across from me, and his jaw dropped. "You," he said. I smiled. Funny how life works, huh? But I didn't fire back. Not yet. I wanted him to earn the job, not out of mercy, but to watch what it's like to actually work your way up. I hired him as an assistant. Told him I wanted to see if he could handle the pressure. And now, he's about to find out what it really means to build from the bottom, under my rules. Hiring Ryan wasn't about being the bigger person. It was about watching someone who coasted his whole life finally taste what real work felt like. I didn't make it easy on him. He started as my assistant, but I didn't call him that. His title was Operations Coordinator, which sounded fancy but really meant coffee runs, spreadsheet edits, and anything I didn't feel like doing. Day 1, he showed up in designer sneakers and sunglasses indoors like this was some tech bro fantasy. I gave him a Chromebook, not a Mac, and told him to prove he could handle basic admin first. By the end of the week, he looked like he aged 5 years. No free passes, no shortcuts, and still, he had no idea what the company really was or who owned it. I kept everything strictly professional. He called me sir in front of the team. I didn't correct him. It wasn't about humiliation. It was about discipline, earning respect the way I never got the chance to. But here's where it got wild. A few weeks in, Ryan started asking questions. "Hey, how did the founder come up with this? Or is he chill with us giving feedback?" I'd just smile and say, You'll get to meet him someday. But internally, I was building something bigger. I had just closed a deal with a major influencer network. They wanted to license our tech to help creators manage brand deals, which meant serious scale. I was already planning a second office. More hires. Bigger everything. Meanwhile, Ryan was fumbling tasks, showing up late, and still acting like he was owed something. I started giving him test projects with fake deadlines just to see if he'd break, and he did. Every time. Excuses, blame shifting, you name it. Then came the turning point. I overheard him on the phone one day in the hallway. He was laughing, saying, "Yeah, man, I'm just using this gig to chill until my next thing comes along. These nerds don't even know who they hired." That's when I knew. He hadn't changed. He wasn't humbled. He was waiting to skip the line again. So I made a decision. I called a company-wide meeting. We had just signed our biggest deal yet, 7 figures. Everyone thought it was just an announcement. But halfway through, I stepped up to the mic, turned to Ryan, and said, "By the way, for those of you who haven't met him yet, I'm the founder." Silence. Then murmurs. Then a few gasps. "Ryan?" He froze. Literally stopped breathing for a few seconds. I kept going. "Some of you have worked harder than anyone I've ever met. And some of you," I glanced at him, "are just waking up to the fact that you're not in charge anymore." I didn't call him out directly, but he knew. That day, everything changed. He started showing up early, actually trying for once, but it was too late. The team didn't respect him. And me? I was already 10 steps ahead. I gave him a performance review a week later, told him we appreciated his time, but we were moving in a different direction. He didn't say anything, just nodded, shook my hand, and walked out. And just like that, the guy who took my future was now fired by the kid he used to laugh at. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more move to make. I took my parents out to dinner. Fancy place. Best table in the house. They thought I was going to tell them I finally forgave them. Instead, I handed them a business card and said, "Just so you know, this is what your college fund built." Not for Ryan. For me. My mom teared up. My dad just stared. I didn't wait for an apology. I didn't need one. Because the best revenge? It's not shouting at the people who doubted you. It's making sure they never get to ignore you again. But there's still one chapter left. Because Ryan? He didn't disappear. In fact, what he did next almost destroyed everything I built. I thought firing Ryan would be the end of it, that he'd vanish like every other failed hustle he left in ruins. But I should have known better. Ryan wasn't the kind of guy to walk away quietly. A few weeks after he was let go, I noticed something weird. One of our biggest clients suddenly backed out of a deal. Then another paused their contract with no explanation. It didn't make sense. We had the numbers, the proof of performance, everything. At first, I chalked it up to bad luck. But then an anonymous tip hit our company email, someone claiming to be from inside the industry, warning us that a former employee had been reaching out to brands behind our backs, saying we were a scam. I instantly knew who it was. Ryan. It all made sense. The timing, the brands, the sudden shift in tone from partners who had previously sung our praises. I dug into our CRM system, tracked the last contact each brand had received, and wouldn't you know it, a new email address had appeared across 3 of them. Same writing style, same fake-friendly tone Ryan always used. The kicker? He was using a variation of my company's name, trying to launch his own knockoff version of our service. No shame, no originality, just straight-up sabotage. I was furious, but I didn't react emotionally. I had learned my lesson already. I called an emergency meeting with my legal team. We had him sign a non-disclosure when he was hired, and even though I'd let him go without cause, he had no rights to use any of our IP, systems, or trade secrets. Within 48 hours, we had a cease and desist drafted, delivered, and acknowledged. But Ryan wasn't done. He started posting cryptic tweets, nothing that named me directly, but enough for people to start asking questions. Stuff like, some companies pretend to care about creators while stealing their data behind the scenes. Don't trust the hype. Comments started flooding in. Is this about you? Who's he talking about? I didn't respond publicly, but I knew I had to act fast. Because now, this wasn't just personal, it was professional. He was trying to destroy my reputation from the outside. So I flipped the script. I recorded a behind-the-scenes docuseries episode about our company's journey. How we went from nothing to scaling fast, the early struggles, the vision, and yes, the obstacles we overcame. I didn't mention Ryan by name, but I alluded to betrayal, fake friends, and bad actors trying to take credit for work they didn't do. The episode dropped like a bomb. It went viral in our niche. Comments exploded with love, support, and most importantly, recognition. People got it. They connected the dots on their own. But I still wasn't done. I had one final play. Remember those brands Ryan contacted? I invited their execs to a private dinner. No pitch, no pressure, just transparency. I told them everything. What happened, who Ryan really was, how we handled it, and how we were upgrading our systems to ensure it never happened again. They respected it. Every single one of them re-signed with us by the end of the month. One of them even doubled their contract. Meanwhile, Ryan's knockoff business? Dead in the water. His site went dark. His socials were ghost towns. But the final nail in the coffin? A new article dropped from a popular tech media outlet. A glowing feature about my company's rise, with the headline, "From Rejected to Respected, the CEO who built a digital empire after his family bet against him." The writer quoted me directly. "Sometimes, the best motivation is knowing the people closest to you never believed you'd make it." That quote went everywhere. I screenshotted it, framed it, and mailed a copy to my parents. No note. Just the article and a sticky tab next to the line that mattered most. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. And here's the kicker. My mom called crying a week later. She said she never realized how much damage they caused when they gave my college fund to Ryan. That they were just trying to keep the peace and didn't think it would ruin our relationship. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I just told her the truth. You didn't ruin the relationship. You ended it. I just built something better from the pieces. We still talk, but it's different now. I don't go home for holidays. I don't answer every call. And Ryan? I don't know where he is. Last I heard, he was bouncing between cities, trying to get back into consulting. But word travels fast in our world. And his name? It's poison now. Nobody trusts a guy who tried to burn down his own brother's company just because he couldn't handle success. Meanwhile, I kept building. My startup turned into a full suite of tools for digital entrepreneurs. We raised funding, real funding, opened offices in 2 new countries, hired 60 more people, and I made sure our company culture was built around everything my family never gave me: support, honesty, accountability. One of my favorite moments came last month when I was speaking at a tech conference. A young woman came up to me afterward and said, "Your story made me believe I could do it without anyone's permission." That hit hard, because that's what this all came down to. I didn't need a degree. I didn't need approval. I didn't need their fund. I just needed me. My own grind, my own heart, my own belief. So yeah, my parents gave my college fund to my brother. And yeah, for a minute, that felt like the end. But now, I'm not just successful. I'm respected. I'm in control. And I became the boss of the very person they believed in more than me. The best part? I didn't do it out of revenge. I did it because I knew who I was, long before they ever did. And if you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or betrayed by the people who should have been rooting for you, let this be your reminder. You don't need their permission to be great. Just your decision. And hey, if you made it this far into the story, you're clearly one of the real ones. So do me a favor, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Because this isn't just entertainment. It's fuel for anyone who's ever been told they can't. Let them doubt you. Let them bet against you. Just make sure, when it's all said and done, you're the one signing their checks.